Hey, what's up, YouTube? Wait a minute. Okay. Let's see here. What's up? How you guys doing? Whoever's on there. It's humid and hot out here on the East Coast, and couldn't sleep, so doing a live stream. Just went over to the Wawa, got something to eat, and we're supposed to have pretty bad rainstorms, and nothing showed up. Weather's going all fucked up all over the country. There's like a big old stinking heat wave. We're in May. It feels like I'm sorry. We're in June. It feels like August. So I don't know. They're fucking manipulating the fucking weather again. This is what I got left in my cappuccino, a frozen cappuccino. Anyway, I'm gonna wait and see if anybody hops on here. Looked like somebody might have been there for a moment. Oh man, still got a bit of a cold. Can't get rid of this damn thing. Something tells me nobody's awake or nobody's going to hop on here now. I don't know. These things are addictive. The cappuccino, holy shit. They're good. What's up? Somebody's up there. Threw me a thumbs up. Thank you. I said it's humid as shit right now. East Coast is a heat wave, kind of 3-day. It's not supposed to cool off all the way to like, I guess Saturday. What's today? What is today? Today is going on to Thursday. Yo, Red Dawn, how you doing? Thank you. That was you. That's cool. How you been? What's new with you? Yo, what happened out in Cali with that? What's the guy's name? Shit. What the hell is his name? Spencer, or the dude that's there was 3 people running for is it mayor or something. As soon as you say his name, I'll be like, yeah, that guy. Spencer, yes. Spencer Pratt, yes. Yeah, what the hell's going on out there? I haven't been following. I just saw. Is he still in the race, or did he get booted out? I had no idea. I just caught a thing about it yesterday. For Hilton. I'm not sure who's Hilton. I'm going to say it's probably, hopefully, a Republican. There's fucking too many damn Democrats out there. How's the weather out there? It's fucking humid as shit. You guys don't get the humidity we do. You might have heat, but I think we get like it's fucking humid all the time during the summer out here. Did a live stream yesterday, and everybody was hopping on there. I had Mixed Media and Tammy and a bunch of other people hopped on there. Low enthusiasm this time around. Even the Dems don't give a shit. It's because, you know what? Because it's like it's the end of the world, man. Nobody gives a damn because everything's burning down around the whole world. The whole world, everything's all fucked up. You know? Everybody knows everything's bullshit anymore. And now they're trying to convince us, aliens are going to come and visit us at any moment and all this other horse shit. Dry heat with a chance of that fire spot. Yeah, chance of homeless set. Yeah, yep. I know there's been a lot of evacuations all over the fucking place because of that. I think it was Nebraska. I just saw it tonight. I don't know. Do you ever see Patrick Humphrey's channel? You ever see him? He was talking. I think it was him about. Is it Nebraska? They got some major fires going on over there or something, and it's like every time you turn around, there's fires somewhere, and you know damn well not all that's just randomly happening. The same thing with when we had the train derailments. It's like they want you to believe that that just happened. Get the fuck out of here. Someone's out there. It's a stealth attack on our country. It has been for the last 3 years, and no one ever says that. So, mysterious fire breaks out. Why the fuck don't they just once catch some asshole doing this shit? Forests don't get a chance to regrow and rebuild again. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It pisses me off because for the last 3 years, I felt like either a domestic terrorist or someone in our country or someone maybe even in the government sending people out to fucking spread chaos. Because nobody ever gets caught, nobody ever goes to jail, and for that matter, how is it that Bill Gates is still walking free? All them ticks that are getting dropped everywhere, they're all tied in on all that shit. They all know about it. Oh yeah, the next thing will be the alpha-gal syndrome. Okay, so how the fuck did you know that was coming? You know what I'm saying? It's bullshit. That's the first person they ought to be banging on his door, with about 25 cops, handcuff his ass and drag him off, to jail. Because he's ridiculous. Every time there's something, with vaccine or this or that, it all goes right back to him, all that shit. Yo, is that little bit of pure gold? How you doing? Yeah, I crashed out for a little while, and I got up. It was humid, and I went over to the Wawa. I don't know if you guys have Wawas out on the West Coast. It's basically a convenience store. Anyway, got me a cappuccino, frozen cappuccino, so I'm going to be up for a little while. And just felt like doing some talking. Still got a fucking sinus headache, sinus, what do you call it? I think it's like infection in my sinus. It's not going away. I'm going to have to go get antibiotics if I don't get rid of it. It's driving me up a wall. And a week or two ago, I did something. What's this say? It was an RV that blew up 2 years ago. What's that? I saw the mushroom women next to the manzanilla bushes. Well, wait a minute, it's moving by too. Wait a minute. When it blew up, lots of stolen rugs. So I got RVs in the homeless camp. Shit. We had what's that company all week, but wait a minute. We had company all week last week. I'm still trying to write my house. In-laws are coming in 2 weeks. I'm crashing out. uh, yeah. Yeah, I felt like shit this morning when I got up. Like I said, I've been sick, and it's gotten a little less severe, but I couldn't get rid of it. And it's like a sinus headache up in here, and hopefully it's starting to go away. If not, I got to go get antibiotics if it doesn't go soon. And I think I got some kind of damn hernia from when I was moving shit out of my storage unit. So I'm fucking one hurting unit, hurting all over the place. So, what's the weather like for you out there? A little bit of pure gold. Yo, what's up? How you doing, Brandon? Does that say Brandon Williams? How you doing? I'm hurting right now, man. Like I was saying, I've had a bad week. Like tore some muscles up in my stomach. It might be a hernia. I was moving some stuff, and I think I pulled the shit out of something. And I'm sick on top of that. What's this? I had the rum flu this morning. Never heard of it. It's about 105 daily humidity. Yeah, 105. Yeah, it's fucking sickening out here now. It's like the humidity, you can cut it with a knife. It's like ridiculous. You swim to your car when you go out of the house. Just saying, why is there a huge population of unhoused dogs and cats? Facebook is all about wait a minute, animal needing homes. Yeah, that's all you can do. Just hang in there, brother. You know what? They're going to start. I don't know if you guys heard this, but this alpha gal syndrome the ticks are giving people when they bite them and shit. They're saying it's affecting the animals now too. So now they're going to be coming for your cats, your dogs. Yeah, you watch. I just drank too much. I thought so. That's right. Rum in the pool, right? What's that? AI coming soon. Scary shit. Yeah, it is kind of. It's everything's AI. It's ridiculous. I don't like it at all. You know, here's the deal. What's the deal with the what do you call that shit? Data centers. I'm sorry. It's fucking ridiculous. Why do they need all that? There's like hundreds and hundreds of them going up all over the place. What? Why all of a sudden do they need them? You know what I mean? I don't get it. Yep, Bill Gates. Exactly. Brandon, wait a minute. Are you the Brandon that was protesting the flock cameras, brother? Is that you? What's that? The damn cat moms says no to anyone taking what's that? The therapy pet away. Yeah. Yo, how you doing, Memory? You're up late. I it was so fucking hot tonight. I couldn't even sleep. Let's just see. Spooky, our cat died last summer. Yeah, you were talking about that from ticks 2 weeks ago. My dog has to go to the vet. The vet called it tick sickness. Gave antibiotics and anti-parasitic. Yeah, what's the deal with the ticks all of a sudden? You're going to try to tell me that's natural and normal? No frickin' way. That's a bioengineered disease, and you can thank Bill Gates. Piece of crap. He's the one that's doing all that. Fauci, all them guys. Yep. Yeah, dude. The whole world's sketchy now. It's crazy shit. Yeah. You're not working? Are you off or something? Um, Memory? Yeah. Oh, well, I can't because we don't have any electricity in my place right now. I didn't tell you that. That's why. That's why yesterday I was doing a live stream too. It's fucking ridiculous. I'd have done the damn live stream in the house. What's that? Put a wait a minute. No, the ticks are horrible this year. I've been checking my kids daily, off until Friday. Yeah, but have you been hearing they're finding boxes? Farmers are seeing shit dropping out of low flying helicopters, like might be right over the edge of the trees on their property, and they're seeing stuff dropped out of them, and then they go over and there's, well, I guess like shoe boxes full of ticks. I don't know that they're shoe boxes, but some small boxes, and they're crawling with ticks. Someone's dropping that shit on there. Yeah, yeah, it's going to get impossible pretty soon for everybody to get a job. As time goes on, it's going to keep getting harder and harder, and then they're going to put you on basic income. What do they call it? Universal basic income until, like, for a little while, they'll hand you some free money, and then they'll say, "Nah, we can't do that. We're running low, or we're having problems." So I'll tell you what, go over and live here in this 15-minute city, and we'll keep sending it. And you'll go over there, and they'll pay you for a little while. Then, we got to move you over to this other one, and basically they'll have you behind razor wire in no time, like you're in fucking Nazi Germany. Mark my words. It's a matter of time. They're going to fucking start in prison. It's prison planet, just like Alex Jones said. That's where we're heading. I wouldn't doubt it. Finding ticks crawling on my hard floors inside. I had never seen that. Yes, they were saying they're very aggressive. They're moving faster too. It's some genetically modified tick or something. That's what I've been hearing. Now, whether that's true or not, well, it's got to be something to it because I never heard of Lone Star ticks till last year or two, and there was other ones too. Lots of squirrels and skunks with rabies in my town. Crazy. Well, you know what? Supposedly they were dropping something out of helicopters. While you go back about a year or two, people were finding shit in the woods that was I forget, like something to do with I don't know if it was rabies or whatever. I'm not making that up. There was some other shit that's quite like this. They were finding something. I think it was down south though. My uncle now has yellow caution tape. Or you were saying that cattle are unsafe. Well, some of this is bullshit because they just want to wreck our economy. And also, Bill Gates is selling that fake meat. They want us to get off the real meat. And, the rich will go have Kobe beef and filet mignon and all the cattle you want, but you're not allowed to eat that anymore. They'll feed you weeds and dirt, and you'll like it. It's a new world order diet. Thankfully, we don't have pigs or cattle this year. I don't know if I could handle it. Yeah, they have this New World screw worm, they're calling it. New World, like New World Order, but they're actually calling it that. You know what I mean? They're just in your face telling you they're dumping shit on us. Your uncle's now being forced to get rid of the cattle because of the mosquitoes and gnats are going into his cattle. I've never heard of that before. So if you have insects on your land, that gives the government green light to just kill off your whole fucking cattle, your whole ranch, I guess, or your whole stock. It's crazy shit. And tell them to go pound sand. Mosquitoes been around forever. Maybe they're dumping more because that's another thing, Bill Gates. And actually, this is a weird thing. Google just released, I don't know how many, 33 million mosquitoes or something, or 32 million. Did you guys see that? Now, why would Google even be getting involved in that? That's crazy as shit. The free needles for all California, complete with free cigarettes for a ballot signature. That's crazy. Is he up in a memory? Is he up in Lancaster? That's crazy as hell. Yes, that's what. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that, Brandon. This is really getting to be sickening. They need to lock him up. Yeah, Proethhian, is that made from chrysanthemums or something? It's a natural, I don't know what you call it, bug killer, chrysanthemums, if that's what I'm thinking it is. I heard gas stations are watching, what's that? Watering down the gas with water. I heard that messes up your engine. I heard something about that too. Oh, Bird in Hand. I know where that's at. Yeah, man, that's screwed up. That's not too far. That's about 25 miles from where I'm at, up near Lancaster. Proethhian is a naturally occurring botanical herbicide. Yeah, there you go. Derived from crushed flower chrysanthemums. I thought so. Yep. So now he keeps his cattle strictly indoors. Yeah, you know what? That's probably a good idea. They probably are flying drones over his property and looking for the chance to poison his cattle or do something to him. See, that's the thing. I don't trust our government with that shit. They're trying to cause famine, and they're trying to corner the market. Bill Gates is selling that fake meat. So they want to get rid of everything, and they'll have you eating dirt, like I said, or plants, and you can't really. I mean, you can live off it. You can be a vegetarian, but there ain't much going on there. You need some protein. What's this? The whole government's full of demons at this. Yeah, you ain't shitting. Exactly, dude. It's What the hell? I can't. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Let him bungee jump out of the tree with the rope around his neck, I guess, right? It's actually getting really kind of scary because every single day you're hearing more and more shit going on. It's ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying, how do you protect your stuff? Because they probably are trying to do shit. Yeah. Um, Tammy was telling me over where she's at in Ohio, they got cornfields and stuff with drones flying over them constantly. Some of them are from the farmers, I guess, have their own drones. She was saying, but in the county. So what are they doing with all that shit? People have no idea how bad it's going to get. What they are exactly, no clue, dude. It's going to be shockingly. They're going to be unable to do anything. They're going to be frozen in fear when everything collapses and they got nothing. Reality will start to set in. It'd be like getting hit in the face with a bucket of cold water, and they'll start finally really waking up. Then you'll have riots. Bill Gates is a UFO lizard demon. Yeah, yep, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the next thing. Wasn't very long ago, up near northern New Jersey and New York, yeah, a year or two ago, there was a shitload of drones flying around, and people were really concerned about them. Then all of a sudden, you didn't hear much about it. There was probably our own government testing out their equipment, getting ready to, you know, fly them around, spying on us. With the same thing with the flock cameras and all that shit. It's ridiculous. It's terrifying what it can do and what it will become with AGI. Yeah. Yep. Gate and cameras. Yep. Yep. Michael Jackson tried to warn people about Epstein and protecting the kids. There was a recorded phone call trying to whistleblow on Epstein and Oprah. What, Michael called? Or someone else? Advanced General Intelligence. Okay. It can make plagues, what's that? Replicate itself, all kinds of shit. That's scary as shit, dude. And it's right out of the Bible, too, dude. Pestilence and plagues. Michael Jackson used to go to the island to smuggle kids out of, to save them. I didn't know that. It's on YouTube. I have to check that out. Yeah, that's a shame, man, because why in the hell they had all those names of Epstein Island and still nobody's going to jail? What's that telling you? Nobody in government seems to give a shit, you know? Everything's all bullshit. There's never anybody in politics, really getting hard time or treason charges. That's why, we built, Beverly was so the kids would have a safe place to go. Yeah. Michael overdosed shortly after they were shutting him up, maybe. They were also trying to steal his his catalogs of his songs and everything. I think they murdered him. I mean, yeah, he might have also been addicted by the time. I mean, there was no might about it. They got him addicted to that shit, and but he might not have tried to kill himself. They might have. Well, they might have helped him along. Put it that way. Never, not Beverly. All right. Yeah. You know what? All in all, when you look back at all the songs Michael Jackson had, I didn't care for him much, but evidently he was highly talented. It's quite obvious. I mean, if Paul McCartney decides to, for the Beatles, one of the best groups that was around back in the day, he's coming in and working with you, then you must be fucking talented. Too many elites have seen with Epstein. Yep. I think if people saw the list and found out what happened, they'd be coming after these people. You know what I mean? They would be coming after him hard. So, what do you guys think? When are they going to pull this UFO delusional or the UFO distraction? Because it's coming. Yeah. And they're saying gasoline's about to run out by July, maybe even a little bit before that. I heard Hitler wanted the Three Stooges gone when they did that short making fun of the Germans. Oh, I saw that. Yeah. Obama, Tom Hanks, George Clooney, seen at Epstein Island. Yep. You don't get into any position of power unless you... Yeah, they need to have some blackmail material on you. So you'll do what they tell you. That's how these people make it in Hollywood, to get dirt on you. Do you guys remember Isaac Cappy? He was going to be a whistleblower, and they threw him off a bridge and got hit by a truck or something. It was about maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Or 5 years ago, I don't know. Yeah, is that the about the aliens? Yeah. It's part of the big psyop. Yep, exactly. They're rolling out everything. They're down to like their last few cards because they can't seem to bullshit as much. People realize, even people who were totally, against anybody that said anything, I don't know what you call them. Everybody's starting to see that we're being bullshitted. Put it that way. They're trying to silence us. Yep. Trump is a nasty pedo. Old man is a bitch to Israel and their genocide. Yeah, that's getting fucking ridiculous. And the whole thing with the we got a deal now, and then 5 minutes later they're bombing again. Like, what's going on with that? Back and forth with that shit. What's it say? Xavier Becerra, who was running for California governor, was a part of trafficking when he worked for Biden. Yeah, half of them politicians are probably making money on the side by looking the other way and making it easy for people to... And they're working with the cartels, too, down in Mexico, and have been for years. People are getting paid off. They're trafficking people, bringing dope into the country, and that's our own politicians shoving some of that money into their pocket after it's been laundered, of course. What's this? It's real, but they're going to tell us what it is. Demons, yeah, if they even know themselves. Right, they're not from another planet. It's from maybe another dimension or another, basically from the pits of hell, probably. Problem is the psyop only works on the masses that aren't touched by God. Yeah, you're right. And the Holy Spirit. Christians, if you notice, aren't buying the narrative. Exactly. Got a good point there, because it's the people that have discernment. And it does say in the Bible, end times, that people are going to be reprobate mind. They won't be able to make sense out of nothing. They'll be following the wrong things. What's it say? Problem is, straight up. I like that the farmers aren't getting those nasty chemical fertilizers. Yeah. Yep. Because if they're putting that on the plant, it's ending up in your body. You know what I mean? To some degree. Not to mention, the other day I had some case of bottled water in my storage unit, and I got it from my brother-in-law. He had it for a long while. That shit tasted like liquid plastic. It was disgusting because it's been hot and cold inside them plastic bottles. You know what? We've been drinking out of plastic bottles for a while now. Back when we were kids, for me anyway, and I guess some of you guys remember they used to have glass bottles for soda and stuff. You go back far enough, Coke used to be a glass bottle, and it's a hell of a lot safer for you. I mean, you might cut yourself if it breaks, but they're killing us with the stuff the soda's leaching out all kinds of shit out of the plastic. It could be what's fucking people up and giving them Alzheimer's. One of the things. That and the damn chemtrails. Go back to natural foods. There's no such thing anymore as natural foods, unfortunately, or very little, because everything's getting GMO'd, and they're dumping all kinds of chemicals everywhere on it. Bottled water is full of microplastics. That's exactly right. Yep. And just about everything has got microplastics in it anymore. The Dems in California won't let farmers get the melted snow runoff. Dems let the snow melt go to the ocean. Palisades fire was a result of that. Yeah, exactly. And if I'm not mistaken, weren't they trying to desalinate ocean water? You got perfectly good snow melt they could be using, and they weren't. For the farmers, and then they go and block off some of the water that's supposed to be flowing through the area, and you go south of them, and the farmers are in the middle of a drought. They can't get enough to grow their crops. What's that? I grow natural foods on me. Yeah. Harvesting peaches. And oh my God, they are so good. So, yeah, we had a peach tree when I was a kid. My parents bought like 11 and a half acres, and it was like farm, kind of like a small farm back in the day. And they had a little teeny orchard. We had one peach tree left that was alive. All the other ones were dead by the time we got there. No, I think there was actually two, and one died, and the other one. And then we had apple trees over on the one side. Not a lot, but some. And we had grapes growing wild. They used to make their own. Their name was Fernandez. They used to make their own wine over. This is up in Chadds Ford. Now there's a Chadds Ford winery up by the Brandywine River area up there. It's kind of crazy because 50 years before we owned that land that was down the road, they were growing their own homegrown grapes. Tap water is nasty. Yeah, exactly. It's full of chemicals, chlorine, and everything else. Farmers in California are good. People being screwed over by climate. Yeah, alarmist. Exactly. And they can't even follow their own science. They make shit up, or a lot of times, or you know, it's all about using panic to get what they want. Kind of like you're killing grandma thing. So go stop yourself from breathing. Put a fucking mask on and do this and do that and stand 6 feet back. They found out later on most of that shit didn't do anything anyway. Number one, a virus so small goes right through most cloth masks, and 6 feet isn't shit. Standing back 6 feet, a sneeze can travel up to 22 feet or so. You know. So most of that's kind of bullshit. And if it wasn't, I mean, how come the politicians were allowed to go party and do things when everybody else was in lockdown? Screwed over by the climate alarmists. Yep. What's this? But I have a bone to pick over the chemtrails. Exactly. Because I'm convinced they said making my orchard sick and my garden. Exactly. Yep. You know what's weird? I was talking about this yesterday, I think. I think it was on yesterday's live stream. The Hopi Indians had a prophecy where they saw spider webs wrapped around the world. I think that could have been a couple different things they were seeing. One, chemtrails. If you look, they look kind of like spider webs hanging up in the sky. Two, it could also be strings of satellites Elon Musk is putting up there. All that shit's unhealthy and fucking up the planet, I think. And there was another thing I was thinking of. I can't remember what. I said chemtrails. Satellites. And they could be frying us with this Starlink or whatever. You know what I mean? Getting bathed in something, some kind of, what do you call that? 5G. Because now he's using it for Wi-Fi and stuff. That's what I heard. All around the planet. I'm not convinced my well water is pure with all the chemical runoff. Yeah, exactly. Monsanto seeds. Seedless fruit is bad and modified. Well, you know something? Russia won't even let any American, like wheat or maybe it's the Ukraine. They don't want any chance of our seeds getting over there because it's all genetically modified. And they're the wheat, what they call it, the breadbasket of the world at one point. Oh, yeah, direct energy weapons, too. Yes, that's another thing, too. Yep. Yeah, they're freaking frying shit. And you guys ever hear of Havana syndrome? It was in Cuba, Havana. We had, I'm guessing it was, I don't know if it was CIA agents or diplomats over there that were getting zapped. This is back years ago. They found out they were getting radiated or something, or 5G damage. And one guy had like brain damage. The other guy was messed up too from it. Direct energy, yeah. What's this say? It's moving too quick. I know, just got a new house. Very expensive. Have my own garden. Yeah, that's cool. Just, what'll happen though when the shit hits the fan is everybody that's got a garden, you're probably going to find that your neighbors and everybody else is going to start raiding. When shit gets so hard and you go try to get food and it's too damn expensive or there's nothing in the stores, then they're going to start raiding everybody's shit, Online doctors so weird. How are you supposed to get well from it? Exactly. That's a crock of shit. A doctor is using his powers of observation. When you come into his office, he's looking at your eyes, see if your nose is running, see if, how you walked in. There's different things. It's like a detective. So they can diagnose you. Now, how's a fucking computer going to do that over a phone? And even if they're asking you questions, doctors have an instinct that they know stuff, what to look for. If you have like a zinc deficiency, you get, for instance, white stripes on your nails, and there's different things that show up that a doctor's trained to look for. Now, why in the fuck are they getting rid of like office visits and having you over a phone get diagnosed? That's so they can just say, oh, no, just take this medication. That's for the pharmaceuticals to sell their fucking pharmakia to us. They're drugs that, it's their sorceries. What's that? Online doctors yeah, I saw that. Farmers are saying that cattle around the data centers, not one live calf, all stillborn. Yes, exactly. Another thing, they're noisy as hell. And that's constant noise, right? That probably messes with your psyche, being around that and hearing that. Even if you're far enough away, it's like you can pick it up probably, and it's probably nerve-wracking as hell. Wait a minute. And it's not good for for humans. Yeah, I heard that from a rancher in Texas. I can believe it. Texas has some data centers going on. Social Security is saying you can draw SSDI from anxiety from not wanting to work anymore. Well, they want to get us on universal basic income. Excuse me, I got a cold that just won't leave. Yeah, shit's hanging on. And that not SSI, universal basic income. Like I said, you watch. People will be signing up to get into that and have that, and they'll sit back and do nothing, which all seem all good and fine. But eventually they're going to say, oh, these guys are useless. AI is going to consider you a useless feeder that doesn't produce anything in society. So you're the first one that's going into the fucking meat grinder. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna go into the ovens or whatever however they're gonna mass kill people because you add nothing to society. Yeah, that's where it's going. You won't have a job. Horrible. And yeah, they said stuff like you'll own nothing and be happy. That was World Economic Forum. Okay. And what they're basically saying, too, is that you'll be renting everything from them, even the clothes on your back. And you won't own your car. You'll rent it or however it's going to work. They'll have driverless vehicles or, you just hop in and it'll drive you. But imagine if somebody hacks in and gets those cars just doing whatever the hell they want, You have no control over it. I wouldn't qualify because I don't look lazy. So, exactly. Yep. Sign me up for I haven't worked in 15 years. Don't plan on ever going back. I'm going to homeschool my kids and tend my farm. I don't blame you. Everything's, and even the curriculum they're teaching at schools anyway is to dumb you all down anymore. You want to go get an education, go up to Martha's Vineyard or wherever the rich people live and go see where their kids are getting sent to school. You know what I'm saying? They're actually getting probably an education, but everybody else is getting dumbed down. Tammy was telling me over in Ohio that at the schools over there, they were letting kids use litter boxes in the bathrooms if they identified as a cat. Now, what in the hell kind of shit is that? Come on, man. You know what I mean? Ridiculous. It's just, well, yeah, exactly. Right on. Exactly. Well, they're actually. You guys know about this too? They've been burning the shit out of. They're using direct energy weapons and burning up junkyards now. And at first, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing that? And then I found out basically they're getting rid of spare parts and everything. They're making a whole new type of car with kill switches in it. I mean, it's kind of extremely fucked up. They don't want you to have any combustion engine. They're gonna give you this alternate means of travel that they can shut down. You could be on like I-95, you know, whipping down the road, and all of a sudden, cop sees you go by, says, we got to pull that one over. And he hits a button and your car stops. Now, what if there's a tractor trailer hot on your tail, barreling down on you? You're done. You can't get out of its way, you know? I've seen state curriculum, and if I have kids in public school and even some private, you might want to think about, what's it say, figuring something else out. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And the teachers really need some help too. The teachers are ridiculous. A lot of these teachers look like they literally just broke free of the straitjacket and got out of the nuthatch. It's just, you've seen some of the things. I mean, half of them are really fucking Scooby-Doo gone. You know what I mean? Watch on too many cartoons or something. I don't know. They're really fucked up. Yeah. They're saying some crazy shit. Yeah. What's this? I saw that. Wait a minute. Wait a second. I have an eye syndrome, visual snow syndrome. I work out what's that? And try to stay away from anxiety meds. I was prescribed. Yeah, usually those things only make it worse, dude. Been off them for 2 months. OCD, anxiety. You know what? And they want to make it sound like there's something wrong with that. Let me tell you something. 90% probably of people are dealing with something like that, and the other 10% are already dead and don't know any better. You know what I mean? The whole fucking society, the whole world is so screwed up, and that's what they wanted, to keep selling you medications and making money off getting us sicker as time went on. Pharmakia, you know. See you, memory. Thanks for stopping by. Dems are getting rich by NPU. Nick Shirley exposed it. Oh, what's this? All Nick Shirley is doing, good shining light on evil. Yep, that's right. And that's the thing. And when people do that and drop a spotlight on this shit, now a lot of times they end up dead. But you know what? It takes some guts to stand up and say to hell with it. Because if they have their way, these people are ruthless. You know? If they get their way, we're all done for anyway. Bezos, wait a minute. I was prescribed for a few years. It's just, I finally quit all and gained discipline. Yeah. You know what? Eventually, what happens with that shit is it makes you worse. You know? It just gives you another problem, and it masks anything, you know. They don't ever get to the root cause of what's causing your anxiety. You're covering it up with chemicals or whatever. That's what I think. Yeah. Oh, benzos. Okay. Yeah, my brother went through all that, and it messed him up for life. My younger brother, he's all messed up. Yeah, I saw that. Exactly. Yeah, isn't that funny that they took that one out? Yeah. Yeah, but even if you're talking about all this stuff, a lot of people are like, yeah, that guy's crazier than a loon. But you know what? No, you're just fucking awake. You just choose not to fucking think that it's raining when they're pissing on your head. That because that's what's going on is people are asleep. They don't have the guts to open their eyes and see things for what's really going on. But actually, they are starting to finally, because it's encroaching into their comfortable little lives. When they got data centers built up in your backyards and flock cameras spying on you and all this other shit, it's overkill. People are finally saying, "Wait a minute, this is really fucked up." You know, it's finally sinking in. Knocking on doors and calling numbers, just voicemail. Yeah, we would have a great convo in person. Yeah. Um, Here's the deal, dude. Everybody needs to be talking, you know, because we're not going to get a chance later on. You know, what's going to happen, dude, is basically one day you're going to wake up, your bank account's going to be gone. Um, the probably might right after that, maybe the very next day or that same day when everybody's bank account's gone, they use that Dodd-Frank law where the bank can come and take your money away from you. Um, Watch, that's when you'll see military on the street. It'll be all planned out. They'll be already right there and ready to go because people will be losing their minds and trying to, burn everything down. It's a big setup. Sooner or later, the shit's going to hit the fan. Closest I ever been to God is in my garden. Well, you know what I always say? You don't have to go to church to find God. God's in each and every one of us. You know, you just got to look within, and you can go out in the woods and talk to God. And you know what? Probably mean more too, because a lot of times people go into church and they're all repeating the same things and nobody even knows what the words mean anymore in a lot of them. Unless you're talking from the heart, it's almost like lip service. I think God would rather hear from each and every one of us as if, you're talking to your father. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. Not like you're just repeating words. What's Yeah, the wind and the birds. Yep. Just sit there, and you know what? And that's the way God talks to us anyway. With nature, the wind blowing and everything's chilled out, and not technology. That's the exact opposite. We're being drowned in high tech everything. You know, it's messing us up as human beings. I think that causes anxiety and everything. Constantly being around machinery and all that shit. It's subtle at first. Prayer is strong. Been with Jesus a good 3 or 4 years now. I'm only about to be 26, which is nuts. Um, yeah, it's one thing. Yeah, there's nothing stronger than prayer. Yeah, you can lock and load when the shit hits the fan, but you know what? They probably have more guns and more ability to take us out than we do to do anything else. But you know what? What do you call it? David and Goliath. David asked God for help, and that's where we got to turn to. When the shit hits the fan, they got all the technology and everything. Something supernatural's got to happen for us to stand a chance. And God wouldn't have wrote the whole Bible and had the whole thing out there and put all this history if he wasn't going to show up when the shit hits the fan, because he'll be there. That's what I think. Those churches corrupt. Yep. False doctrine. Yep. And they're there for the money. They're telling you got to tithe. You're not a good Christian if you're not dumping money into the collection plate. My God isn't low on cash, mister. I think YouTube said, or YouTube, Bono or something said that in one of his songs. Yeah. Followed Jesus. Technically, I'm Christian, but I just followed his work. Yeah. Or his words. Okay. But no one comes to the Father except through me. And I take it literal. Yep. Put it this way. He's the one that put up with the 3 nails and a crown of thorns and the torture and dying for 3-4 hours or however many hours he hung on that cross for us. He was the sacrifice that we don't have to end up in hell. And if you accept it, you're golden. Yeah, what's this say? Jesus said no. Okay. By the way, they talk about the what do you call that? Oh, shit. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. Can't think of what I was about to say. Joel Osteen is the worst. Yeah, because he's a feel-good minister. You just tell you what you want to hear. Everything's turning out great, and everything's going to be wonderful because you can do it. It's a motivational speaker, that's all. He's not really telling you, what God expects out of us or anything, or what what will save you. He's telling you, everything's fine and dandy. The whole world's on fire, and he's preaching to you about how fine and dandy everything is. And think positive. Be the best you can be. That's the kind of shit that he was talking about. And there's nothing wrong with motivational speaking. But, if you're preaching the Bible or the gospel, then do that. Get some of that in there too. Have some substance to what you're saying, I guess. Is what I'm trying to. He was the ultimate sacrifice, the unblemished lamb. Exactly. Live your best life. Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's all sounds good and everything. But, is it going to get you? Is it going to keep you from burning in hell? I don't know. It doesn't seem to be, It's very, he doesn't mention, Jesus died for your sins very much that I remember. Because I watched him for a while. And at first I'm like, this guy's interesting and everything. But then you realize there's nothing behind what he's saying mostly. Kenneth Copeland, oh my God. He looked like a demon jumping around on stage, Kenneth Copeland. By a long shot. Demons living through them, deceiving thousands. Yeah, he's got like 3 or 4 jumbo jets and everything else. And one time I saw him, and give me some more money because God told me I deserve another plane or something. Some bullshit he said on stage. I'm thinking, why are these people still following that? They're brainwashed. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you know what? Guess what? Wearing a mask at church, first off, um, you should have faith that, you know, you're basically protected. You're covered in the blood of Jesus. I mean, you shouldn't be walking around scared all the time, too. I'm not saying you ignore health things, but that whole mask thing was ridiculous anyway. It was a muzzle. It's symbolically, they wanted you to shut the hell up. Put a muzzle on a sheep, or whatever. And then the thing is that it's weird because they do treat us like we're farm animals or something. You go get your vaccination now, like they vaccinate cattle, and they basically call us chattel, and there's all these words. And oh, you got to go to your 15-minute city, which is basically your pen where they keep you. You're barbed wired, and you know what I mean? They're treating us like we're animals, and they're going to eventually lamb to the slaughter. They're going to take us and fucking kill us off. You have to stay positive as possible. Don't ignore the evil in the world. Those prosperity preachers still going strong. Yeah. Yep. It's because a lot of people, they don't want to change what they're doing in their life so it works for them. You know what I'm saying? They told, good job, you tried. Here's a participation trophy. Too bad you'll be burning in hell, but enjoy that trophy. You know what I mean? they're not there to help you on your journey to get to heaven at all. In my opinion, the mask is good to wipe your blood away. Yeah, shit in the world. Yeah, exactly. And you know what was crazy? They're telling you wear a mask and everything, and you're going to get people sick and everything if you didn't. Well, do you guys remember walking into a grocery store and people's were just discarding their mask all over the parking lot, and little kids are running around. Look, mommy, picking them up and shit. So, like, what the fuck? Why weren't those people who are throwing them out there getting jail time and stuff? You see what I'm saying? That they should have been raising hell. That's how you know it's all bullshit. Yeah, they don't follow through. They don't follow their own science half the time. Yeah, it was a psyop on the world, man. Had everybody, yeah. Okay, let's see if we can make everybody wear a mask. They're probably laughing their balls off. The people that came up with that. They want to see if they could have us jumping through hoops and doing whatever they want, and then tell you if you don't get vaccinated, you can't earn a living. Tough shit. If you have a family, they're going to starve. I'm telling military people that you can go over and get vaccinated by lead, out there on the battlefield, but we're going to fucking cut you loose if you don't take this needle, this vaccination over here. You know what I mean? Fuck that. Yep. That's another thing you're saying about Walmart's. Walmart's is getting really fucked up. You know what they're doing? And I think Kroger's and some other stores are doing? They have digital pricing. In other words, if you grab something off the shelf, because say, hey, that's a good price. That product's only $3. I'm going to go run up and buy it. So you walk about 3 or 4 aisles over, and there you go up to the cashier, and the price has changed. It's digital pricing. And why it might have changed for you, somebody else is going to get it from a different price because they're taking facial recognition and deciding who they can get more money out of. Is what I heard. And basically, if you're not in the in crowd or you don't have, whatever it is, you're not a Mason or whatever the hell the deal is, you're paying more. And not only that, but how can you change the price from the time you pick it off the shelf and you're walking it over there? That's false advertisement, you know? Better Business Bureau ought to be looking into that shit. It's price gouging, too. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. California literally would spray Lysol on you if you didn't have masks. Yeah. Yeah. I would have done something back. Yeah. You know, over in China, they had drones flying up and down the streets spraying Lysol or chemicals on people during that pandemic. And you wonder what the hell they were actually spraying. And they had billions upon billions of people over there. They're trying to shorten their population because eventually they're going to starve. North Korea's already starving. And then a couple times, I think a few years ago, maybe it was only a year ago, a dam broke and they didn't even warn the people downstream. They just let them drown. Thousands and thousands, millions of gallons of water rolled through, and it was a disaster, you know? Flooded out their rice paddies that they were working in their cities or wherever the hell they were at. I think it was about a year or two ago I heard about that. He got told in one store that I had, wait a minute, had to have a mask. I told him I guess I'll spend my money exactly elsewhere. Still refused to shop there. Yeah, I stopped. I cut my own hair after a while. Actually, very quickly on in that pandemic. I said, "Fuck that," because then you had to wear a mask and everything. Nah, fuck that. I'll cut my own hair. Saved me a bunch of money. Eventually, it got halfway decent at cutting it. Wasn't too bad, and sometimes it was better than what they did anyway. Because sometimes you ever get a haircut and the person's talking and not really paying close attention. You go home and shit's like it's not cut properly in some areas because some of them couldn't give a shit. It's a 9 to 5. And they don't give a shit. What's this? I got told in one, I already read that. Yeah, shit's going crazy, dude. The whole world's ready to fucking go down the abyss. About to get sucked down into a black hole. It's called hell. Oh, it's a bitch at, what's that? Big Lots, twice ignoring mass police. I was rude to the cashier checking out my stuff. They handed me a mask and I threw it down. Well, okay, exactly. Good for you, because that's horse shit. And how come everybody so quickly bought into that? You know, oh no, we all got to do that all of a sudden. Why? Why? Where's the science? And it didn't. Nothing held up really when you really looked into it. Like I said, you start doing some research on that. A lot of those masks, and then people were wearing just like a scarf over their face, and fishnet stock. Shit's sneeze goes right through all that shit, It's ridiculous. I've seen people take their shirt and pull it up over them, and it was all a bunch of shit. One day I was, I will shut my gate, and there won't be anyone in or out, but we're at least 5 years from being self-sufficient enough to just drop out. Just need to bulk salt. I can't make salt. Probably somewhere on your land, you might be able to find a salt deposit too. Yeah, probably. Creeks and rocks and shit in there. You may have something you could probably. The cashier said I would put her in the hospital. But I shopping there, Give, giving her shit. Yeah, man. No salt. You just ain't digging deep enough. Maybe if you're probably not allowed to use it anyway because you probably don't own the mineral rights. The government will come in and take it from you. Once they find something on your land, they'll take it. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. 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 Everybody walking around with hand sanitizer. Here's the problem with that. You're using it every single day. You actually need some germs to boost your immune so you get an immunity buildup. You need at least some. But everybody was soaking themselves down with alcohol wipes and everything else, and it was probably making it worse in the long run. She would offer, yeah, hate me. I own all mineral and water rights to my land from the center to heaven. You said that, but they'll come and tell you different in due time. Just saying. Maybe you're far enough out in the wilderness, they're not going to mess with you for quite some time. But I'll tell you what, they'll be busy rolling around into towns and shit, the bulk of the population. So you'll probably get a free pass for quite some time before they mess with you, I would think. But they'll cut you off. You won't be able to go into those towns hardly. Probably no communications. That's the thing. An EMP or something blows out the power grid, we're kind of screwed. All our communications go down, and we depend too much on their cell phones and everything else, all the electronics. Caught the masked man. You actually called the cops. I think he told me that. The cops came to my house, not social distance. Yeah, I'd say prove it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Right. The thing is that the arrogance of the leaders in our country, and just say it like this: Trump thinks he can do no wrong. That's wrong right there. He should humble himself. And a lot of these leaders, they're so full of themselves on both sides of the aisle and don't even think it's one side or the other. They're all working for power and not for us. They're about self-gratification. They're trying to build up their riches on themselves. Look at Nancy Pelosi. She's basically using taxpayers' money to gamble on the stock market, which is illegal as shit. What do they call it? Inside trading. And a few of them were doing that. Exactly. Rather be dead than a type of slave. Yeah, exactly. One cop was wearing a mask. The other next to her was not wearing a mask. They were inches away from my face when I answered the door. Exactly. And they knew it's fraudulent, and yet they're playing it through. Hear that? Did you guys hear that? I was hoping it was the rapture horn. I heard what sounded like a trumpet or something. Yeah, exactly. They forget who they work for. Well, that's what bothers me. They're going to turn on us. When the shit hits the fan, they'll just go and lock people up, forget about your rights and your everything. They'll just go do what the powers that be told them to do. They're no longer even going to look at the Constitution, you know? They'll forget about that and go right around it. Yep. Pelosi set up J6. Exactly. 3-letter agencies climbed the Capitol building. Yep. Yeah. Why are none of those people under investigation? They locked people up for a couple of years, and ruined their lives on lies. It's crazy. Hey, has any of you guys noticed YouTube's been acting really weird lately? Like, I've had several issues. I don't know if it's YouTube or my phone today happened. I had no audio for anything. I couldn't, and I messed around. Somehow I got it back on, but I've noticed some of my live streams are just shutting the sound off. Jake Lang, who was arrested for J6 and spent years in jail, is an activist. Now his videos are online now. Yeah. Wait a minute. Let me see what I got left for battery. I still got plenty of battery left. Honestly, I'm so far out, I don't think they would bother me. Yeah, you're far later on the list. They're going to go after the bulk of the people first. Probably they're going to go in to inner cities and literally rolling around in the streets with tanks at one point or another or something, and probably putting people in 15-minute cities, which I call them prisons. And that's funny because that's one of the things, what's his name? Alex Jones was talking about years ago, calling it Prison Planet. He was right. He could be obnoxious and everything, but he was right about a lot of stuff. And they went, and how about that whole Sandy Hook thing? What kind of bullshit was that? Billions of dollars he ended up owing on that. They sued him and won that, right? Now, how many times has the other side done the similar shit with that was falsified, and they barely got any kind of shit for it? I live in the heart of California, where the 1849 gold rush was still gold here, but it's on the federal land. No trespassing. Yeah. It's the same land that they stole off of Indian tribes, 6-7 decades ago. Murdered people. Up in the Black Hills, that's what Custer was evidently going through there and was raiding Sioux and Lakota Sioux camps and shit. And they just used to ride right in there early in the morning and slaughter them, and then he'd roll out. Well, he got his ass kicked eventually, big time. He got what was coming to him. But my point was, they went into the Black Hills because there was gold up there. That's what they wanted to open up, that area. And that was sacred land to them, So there's no respect for anybody's culture at all. My in-laws live in Sacramento. I have no idea how they do it. Yeah. Spanish missions on the coast, but now godless, feckless fuck in San Francisco. Yeah, that's a good point. Yep, that started off as, you're right, Christianity there and stuff, and now it's like Sin City. Same with, Vegas and all that out there. It's just corruption. It's Sodom and Gomorrah, probably 2.0. They come out here every year. It's almost like the nervous system doesn't know what to do with no lights or noise. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? And that's the thing. That's like a retreat, or like just getting unplugged from the grid, because all the shit that we're around all day long, the noises, if you're working in the inner city or you're going through there, you don't even know it, but you're absorbing a lot of anxiety just from being in tech, in a tech area like that. Not to mention breathing in chemtrails or exhaust from cars and all that shit. It's probably taking years off your life. Doctor visit, nice city, very expensive. They say it's unsettling. Probably because they're not used to it, but I bet you in time they would start relaxing. They probably got used to hearing constant white noise, or I shouldn't say that because that's a racist thing, white noise. You know what I mean? People are taking shit far too serious about, just trying to scream racism at every corner. There's not that the kind of racism that they're acting like. You go back 30, 40, 50 years, you're going to see real racism. I'm not saying it doesn't exist now. It's just that they're finding racism everywhere, even when it isn't. Nervous system doesn't know what to do with all the lights and noise. Yeah, I used to like going up to the mountains. My uncle had a place up there, Tanglewood. It was a ski resort, and my other uncle had a place up there too. And we'd go up to either one or the other. And it was just, you go out in the middle of the night, it's quiet, be pitch black, but you could see every star in the sky because there wasn't any light pollution from, there's no nearby city. And you just got back to nature, and wildlife was up there and everything. Now everything's just fucked up. I live 90 miles from Sacramento. I wonder if Sacramento is a part of the saying yeah, it's Sacrament. That's exactly where it came from. It's a Spanish Franciscan, or what do you call them? Yeah, probably the Franciscans, that the monks and stuff that went out to San Francisco. Saint. That's where that word came from, Sacramento. What's that? I saw my life flash being on 405. What's that? A real busy highway up there? We take Highway 49 to Highway 16 to Sacramento. Supposed to rain. It never, well, it might have rained early, but never really got any rain to cool it off. But it did, the temp went down a little bit. Eight lanes. Man, that must have been kind of scary. Yeah, driving in 8 lanes of traffic. I never been on anything like. I don't like going on 95 out here on the East Coast. Little House on the Prairie and Highway to Heaven was filmed in my town in the 80s. It was Michael Landon in both of them. Yeah, no shit. He was in both of them. That was. And you know what? I think he kind of financed Highway to Heaven, and that because that was what he wanted to put out, if I heard right. And Hollywood wouldn't have done that. You know, Highway to Heaven. They're more into Highway to Hell. Hollywood. You know. Exactly. Where the lanes were. Yep. Yeah, a lot of people end up dead probably on that highway. Do any of you guys remember James Munder, who was a YouTuber? Um, Red Dawn, you probably remember him. Maybe. You remember James Munder? He got killed out there, I think near LA. I think someone killed him. He was targeted. That's what I think. He worked at the hotel Michael Landon stayed at while recording Highway to Heaven. Tulum, California. Yeah, James Munder was what do you call it? A truther, I guess you call him. And he was just starting to get popular. And at one point or another, I thought I heard he was involved briefly with Scientology. And he was actually working in Hollywood a little bit, like as a key grip or camera guy, or somehow was involved in films and movies. He was just starting to get in, and something happened, and he started having people literally harassing him. He was targeted individual, TI, and he kept saying it, and he ended up dead, and a lot of people were questioning what happened with him. James Dean got in a car wreck near Bakersfield, California. You know, I just saw something come across the screen. Did any of you guys know who Carl Vernon is? He's a YouTuber. He's from England. I watched some of his stuff. He just had a fucking video titled "Fuck Off" because he's over there. They're really messing with them over there, big time. I feel bad for the English and Australia and even Canada's getting screwed around. And there's another guy up there I watch sometimes in Canada. I don't know if you guys know Mike Martins. He's always pointing out shit, and he's a truther, and he's on point on a lot of the things he says. And they won't. They basically they suppress his channel. He's been on for years, and his predictions are right on the money a lot of times. And they sorry about that. I hit a button and the whole thing went black for a minute. Thought I knocked the whole thing offline. My mom went to Hollywood High School in the late 60s. What's this? I used to live in Dallas. Drove the same road JFK was killed on. Yeah. Up by the grassy knoll. Do you know that they said that George Bush Sr. was there at the time of the assassination? He was a young, I guess a rookie at that point for the CIA, or a very young guy, but he was there and he was near the grassy knoll, they said. He was working with the CIA. That's near his home anyway. He's from down in Texas, and he might have been stationed in there if he just joined the CIA a little earlier. But kind of weird. was working in my 20s. The the boy from Two and a Half Men, grandma was in the nursing home I worked at. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's what they say. Go look into that. I heard he was at the assassination. He was stationed around there. I guess maybe alongside the somewhere near the grassy knoll, not far from it. Which is kind of crazy. You know, and really, that was a hell of a cover up. Nobody really knows exactly who put the hit on Kennedy, but there was a lot of people saying Sam Giancana, a lot of the mafia guys, Cubans, everybody. It was all kinds of different people. And obviously the Russians. They were saying Oswald was uh, what do you call that? A Russian agent or something at one point. Shot from the book, yeah, the book depository building from the back, and his driver shot him from the front. Yeah, yep. Yeah, no, that was their story for a little while. That's the only reason why you heard about the grassy knoll. Guess it sounded good in their alibis and their stories for a while. Yeah, Patsy, you're right. Exactly. He was probably MK Ultra. They're doing that shit again, where they're brainwashing people to the point, where they can turn them into a slave to go out and just kill off people. All these people that went after Trump, there's a good possibility they were CIA, what do you call it, fall guys or puppets, or I just said it a minute ago, MK Ultra victims. Christopher Lloyd and bumped into Kiefer Sutherland in Las Vegas. His ex-girlfriend aunt was married to Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe was like a big-time drug addict for years. I think it was Rob Lowe, yeah. 3 CIA did that hit because JFK was talking about secret society. Yeah, I heard that too. And getting the Federal Reserve. Yep. There could have been multiple different reasons and different people involved in that. It was probably a bigger conspiracy than we know. Yeah, exactly. The grassy knoll. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Homer was the shooter. Yeah. And how many attempts on Trump's life has there been? And it's weird. It's they never really got. Well, they got close, but it seems kind of fake to me because Charlie Kirk got killed on one shot one time. Nobody else went after him before, and 3 or 4 times I went after Trump. It seems like just weird. Yeah. Bart was the patsy. Yeah. All of it was staged. Yeah. Yeah, especially that last one. The guy come running in, and none of that makes any sense. And something weird? BlackRock Larry Fink, I think his name was somehow he was filmed talking or hanging out with the guy that was the shooter earlier or something. Like he showed up at the school. I mean, what the fuck are the odds of that? Do you remember that shit? That's the guy that's in charge of most of BlackRock or something, Larry Fink. He was like a head CEO or whatever. Yeah, maybe. Yes, that's a good possibility. Marilyn Monroe was unalived by the same people who unalived JFK. I bet Monroe had bruises all over her back when they found her body. Probably. Tyler Robinson is about to get the death penalty for a crime that failed. What? Wait a minute, crime that FBI did. Yeah. Are they going to give him the death penalty? Now, answer me one question. He's getting the death penalty, right? How criminals like, I don't know, Nancy Pelosi aren't even catching a treason charge or any kind of charge about basically stealing tax money? And there's many others. Everybody that's involved in Epstein's Island, none of those people are yeah, they even, nothing's happening to them. Oh, what's her name? Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, I heard that. You know? Erica Kirk is considered the victim, and she is asking for death. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, yeah. That was the guy that shot Charlie Kirk. I'm thinking one of the Trump assassins. You're right. I had it backwards there for a moment. I mean, huh. I'm just saying, why do they never put Hillary Clinton or any of these other people in jail? They know damn well they broke the law and nothing became of it. Monroe wouldn't unalive herself. She was going to go to the press with her notebook and notes or what she and JFK talked about. Yeah, but isn't it convenient to kill the patsy? Exactly. No loose ends. You know what I mean? Get rid of all the loose ends. It's standard practice of the CIA, I guess. Leave no loose ends. Yep. Let me see what I got for battery here. Okay, we're still good. Yeah, the thing is that I still just don't understand how people get away with shit and never have to pay the piper, you know what I mean? Like I'm saying about the Epstein Island shit. They're all going to just walk, and nobody's going to do anything to any of them. You heard Monroe was pregnant with JFK's baby, but I don't know if it. I heard something like that too. That would have been a scandal that they couldn't have, you know. You guys remember Teddy Kennedy had Do you remember Chappaquidda? I think it was called. It was a bridge. He was driving in Massachusetts. He had some young intern in the car or something with them, and they were drinking, carrying on, and they went off a bridge or something. And he managed to swim to shore. She died, and he hid out. Turns out, years later, up where I used to live in near Chad's Ford, there was a millionaire that was somehow related to the Kennedys. His last name was Weymouth, Frolic Weymouth. And he's known he's dead and gone now, but he was known in Chad's Ford as being related to the Queen over in England and everything else. Kennedy supposedly was hiding out on the dude's farm for a while. That's what the scuttlebutt was about years ago. People said that he went down there to hide out for a little while before I guess he turned himself in or whatever happened a week or two later. Or I'm not even sure, but he was hiding out supposedly after that happened down there. Monroe's publicist was unalive too, for trying to expose the three-letter people. They made it look like self-inflicted. Yep. She wanted to keep it. Yep, the baby. Yep. She tried for years with Joe DiMaggio to have a baby. She just wanted to retire and be a mother. Monroe and DiMaggio were supposed to get married. Yeah. Well, if that's the case, she shouldn't have been out fucking around with JFK. Yeah. She already had Joe DiMaggio waiting in the wings, and maybe, yeah, whatever. It's just kind of fucked up. Yeah, there's a hell of a lot of unsolved mysteries in our country, you know? A lot of shit we'll never know about. I don't even believe we're actually on the moon anymore, you know? Starting to think all that shit was bullshit. Giant psyop to see if they could get us to buy into it. I mean, they actually said they couldn't go back. They didn't have the technology. A little while back, they said, no, we can't. We don't have it. We lost the technology to go back up to the moon. It's like, get the fuck out of here. But you're going to go to Mars now. What the fuck is that? Somebody actually said that, back in the day. It's just, why would she unalive herself when she had just bought sapling trees for her yard? Exactly. I thought she turned him down after they divorced, but DiMaggio buried her and put flowers on her grave until he passed. Yeah. She was pregnant. Why would she risk the baby? Yeah. Because it's all bullshit, man. They killed her off. And the whole thing's bullshit. With the story that went out there, it's like everything else. They rewrite history and put it out there. And it takes 40, 50 years to find out something was fucking wrong about it. Or, it was bullshit. And you never really get the real answer. And don't even get me started with these alien bullshit stories that they got now, too. I mean, come on. I like how aliens only come to the leaders of our country. Like, how the fuck do they know? And take me to your leader. You know what I mean? All that shit is bullshit. They just so happened they needed a distraction. Oh, wow, here come the aliens. What perfect timing. Yeah. Why didn't Trump release Jeff? Yeah, he said he would. Yeah. Exactly. There, a little bit of pure gold. Didn't Trump, wasn't he going to release the files? Kept saying it. You still don't have any of that shit. You had little teeny tidbits here and there, and that's it. So, what the fuck's up with that? Exactly. JFK was my grandparents' problem. I want the Epstein files actually taken care of. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because there's still some of those people floating around doing it again on some other island. Get them now. Put a stop to that shit. Aliens or demons, giants hidden in the Smithsonian. Well, that's the thing. They were hiding. They were digging up skeletal remains of giants, and the Smithsonian would come along, take them, and destroy those things. Now you have to ask yourself why. Why would you do that? Because they realized that it helped prove that the Bible was real, because there was giants mentioned in that. They were trying to just make that like it was all fairy tales. They were Nephilim, they were sons of fallen angels and shit. Tom Hanks and Obama on Epstein Island. Yep. Hot dogs and pizza. Yeah. That was Obama too, right? Didn't he have like $50,000 worth of hot dogs at a party in Washington one time or something? Exactly. Yes. Because it'll validate parts of the Bible all of a sudden. Exactly. And they're trying like hell to discredit the Bible whenever they can. I just heard that, and I don't know, they said he's still alive and shit. Like they've seen pictures of him. He probably is. And they also said that Hitler was hiding at one point. He was still alive and down in Argentina. Maybe. You never know. I mean, go back to Billy the Kid. There's stories about him and Jesse James not being dead. So I guess it's possible some of those people may have actually hid out. And that was before we had satellites and TV and ways to, Robert Stack was on there, Unsolved Mysteries on the TV. You know what I mean? It was back in the day, they didn't, you could disappear a hell of a lot easier than you can now. Yeah, I think he is too. He had too much money and probably blackmailed too many people. So he had protection, I think. Yeah, he'll get what's coming to him. All those scumbags will. Judgment Day. Yeah, they think they're ducking out now. It's going to be worse for them. God said if you hurt one of those little children, it'd be better that you had a millstone around your neck and thrown in the deepest part of the ocean. You know? Epstein's in a rubber mask. Well, you notice what's with all the rubber masks, by the way. Remember Jim Carrey? Look, people were saying he was wearing a mask, and then they were saying it was somebody else. And there's a whole bunch of, Biden came out, looked like he had a mask. He one day was taller than the next. He was standing next to Jill Biden. And what do they have? Doubles for everybody now? I mean, they probably always did. But now it's getting obvious. It was, mortified. What that went over the what's it say? Over Epstein's death photos, and she was the mortician, I guess you meant, and she was adamantly saying that those photos he was alive in. Mortician, okay, yeah. Sandra Bullock was has foreskins on her cheeks. Look, yeah, she was on TV talking about a treatment like Korean children. They were taking foreskins, and of course, it's a third world country that they're doing shit, to people, and they were using it. Yeah, you're right, to give her complexion and a little kickstart, or whatever, or dick start. A fucking sick bunch of motherfuckers. She said it on. That was what it was. It was on Ellen's show. I saw that. Yep. And Ellen DeGeneres. There's people claiming that she looked like shit after, as her show was getting canceled, or she was near the end of her stretch with the show. She started to look like shit, and people said she couldn't get the adrenochrome anymore. Like some of these stars are literally having problems because they're addicted to the adrenochrome. Yeah. I refuse to mutilate my children at birth. Yep. Yeah, and they did it to the Harvey guy, too. Also, the whole thing, what happened? Do you guys remember? There was a videotape. It was called Frazzle Drip or something. It was about Uma, what was her name? Hillary Clinton and Aberdeen, her assistant or something. I can't remember her first name, Uma or something like that. Anyway, they tortured some kid on film or something, peeled the kid's face off and all this because they're trying to harvest adrenochrome, and they got to bring them up to a certain level of fear because it's adrenaline, and they would tap into their head. This is what I heard. Now, whether it's true or not, there was evidently some film footage, and that you never heard much more after a little while about that. Could have been bullshit, probably, but makes you wonder. And then they also talk about Kuru, and there's been cases of Kuru is basically a disease you get from eating human flesh or human brains and shit. And they said that it's possible. What's her name had that disease? Hillary. But the way she was acting and shit. I heard the government saves our umbilical cords and the cord blood to make clones. Someone else said that a little while ago. Maybe. My last 3 kids, I waited till the cord was white before it got cut. Wait a minute. Yeah. Put them in the orchard. Yeah. The movie, it says, you taste better when you're afraid. Do you believe that happened? Do you know what I was talking about? That Frazzle Drip was the name of a film or something, bootleg film that Hillary had filmed, or somebody filmed it of her and Huma Aberdeen or whatever her assistant was. Do you guys know what I was talking about? It was about 3-4 years ago. I remember here. Maybe it was longer now. I can't even tell you what. So much shit has happened in the last 10 years. It's hard to track exactly when things happen in what order, hearing about all this. Maybe I have a clone. Doubt it. I do, because I was born in the 70s. I think it might be possible that they can clone a human body, right? But I think they can't clone a soul. So, hence, maybe a disembodied demon can climb in there. You know what I'm saying? As a co-pilot of the thing, or I wonder. I heard it from someone else. It might have been Tammy or somebody said something about that. Well, it's weird. They do all that, right? And how about with a lot of these alien abductions? How, the woman, they harvest eggs from her, or they got pregnant with it. Remember all those stories that they're talking? Maybe there's a little bit of truth to some of this shit, but it's demonic. I don't think they're, somebody that come flying down here from Jupiter. I don't think some alien, some little green man, unless he had horns on his head. It's fucking. I think it's demons. Stem cell therapy. Yes. Yep. You're harvesting stem cells. I think it's possible they were selling that when they have abortions and shit. They're selling the aborted babies as well. And I'm sure they use them for all kinds of shit. Matter of fact, you know, makeup industry probably uses it, like we were talking about Sandra Bullock and shit. And, stem cell research. And yeah. Demons don't bother you if you're saved. You know what? They bothered, you know, they bothered Lot, but at the end, Lot won. You know, demons try, but if God's got his seal on you, you're all right. If you're, like you said, I guess if you're saved, you're wearing the full armor of God, you're all right. Doesn't mean they can't try to attack, and they probably do. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I think there's spiritual warfare going on in our lives damn near every single day. When shit's unexplained, and all of a sudden shit gets real hard for a while in your life and doesn't make any sense, and it feels like you're targeted. Very possibly you are on a spiritual level. I see through the lies and know exactly what is going on. Yep. It's called discernment there, I would say. Jane's Revenge. What's SPLC? You got me on that one. Demons will try over and over to reach those touched by the Holy Spirit. By the way, I just heard today in Ohio, they're having satanic classes in an elementary school out there. And the reason why they're going forward with this, they're raising hell because supposedly there's, I think there's Christianity's having a class. But the deal is, I thought they stopped all that, separation of church and state. Something happened where now they're bringing satanic, what do you call it? Learning about Satanism into a school out in Ohio. I wish I had to remember the name of that. It was on a video I watched today. Google that, see if it comes up. Southern poverty law. Yeah. You know what? I think I better hop off of here. I got to get up tomorrow. It's getting late out here on the East Coast. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll talk to you guys again. Maybe if I'm up to it tomorrow night, I'll do another live stream. You guys stay safe, and God bless you. Have a good night, and thanks for stopping by.